get over to our screen share. I am really, really just happy to see so many that are interested in this class because it's an important topic to me. It's affected our family. It affects so many families, so many kids, so many teens. I'm going to see if I can get our little video gallery off here so you can see the slideshows. It's a little tricky. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, we're gonna jump right in. So let me tell you why this class is so important to me. I'm a mom, and when I started using essential oils, or I was introduced to essential oils, this was 7 years ago. I just didn't understand how they could be used therapeutically in such powerful ways. And we were going through some struggles in our family with raising kids and helping them with various issues. And one child in particular was just really struggling. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of her story in a little bit because it made such a difference for us. But what I want you to know is that I saw the power, and I did not believe that these oils could make that much difference, but I saw the power and what they were doing with the brain and how that was changing behavior and how it was changing emotions, and it gave us hope during a period of time that we were feeling really overwhelmed and really stressed. So you might be here because you know, someone that you love, your child, your grandchild, is having days like this. Maybe homework is a struggle, school is a struggle, focus is a struggle, emotions are getting in the way, and you haven't been able to find an answer. Maybe having days like this, where there's behavioral, maybe oppositional behavior that goes beyond just, you know, how do we address this with correction and discipline? You're like, something's off and I can't put my finger on it, and I don't know how to help it, I don't know how to fix it. You might be struggling with teenagers that are having emotional imbalance. This is a serious problem today, isn't it? It causes us a lot of worry because there are a lot of teenagers who are not well. They're not well, and sometimes they're not even safe. And it's frightening as a parent. And a lot of times I work with moms and dads and caregivers, guardians that just are at the end of their emotional bandwidth because they don't know where to turn for help, and they're so terrified of the options to look at. It can be a frightening world. And so you may be coming in here with some major struggles going on with the child that you're raising. You may be coming in here, maybe it's not that critical. Maybe it's just, you're just seeing something that you want a little adjustment, and you just want your child to feel a little happier, be able to feel a little more successful, not be so frustrated. We're tackling an issue that's huge, right? It's a huge spectrum of brain issues. The brain is the most complicated organ in the body. So it's a hefty topic. We're kind of sweeping a broad stroke across a lot of issues. But the good news is there are some natural things that can address a broad spectrum of issues, okay? And for me, it was a breath of fresh air because I found some things that were easy, inexpensive, safe, enjoyable, and I saw it making a difference in my child. So we're gonna go through some statistics here, okay? Because we really wanna look at what are we dealing with? What are we dealing with today in the kind of the landscape of healthcare when it comes to kids and teenagers? So did you know that 9.4% of children aged 2 to 17 years old, that's approximately 6.1 million children and teenagers, have an ADHD diagnosis? Okay, that's a significant number. Now, you'll hear a lot of opinions about that. I am not one that's going to tell you that that's a misdiagnosis or overdiagnosed. What we know is something is causing these children to struggle in the area of focus, attention, hyperactivity. I'm also not going to tell you that I have answers to cure any of these things, okay? This portion of the workshop is simply statistics so we can see what parents and what kids are dealing with right now. 7.4% of children aged 3 to 17 years approximately 4.5 million have a behavior problem diagnosis, like a medical diagnosed behavioral problem. 7.1% of children aged 3 to 17 years old, that's approximately 4.4 million, have an anxiety disorder diagnosis, okay? There, I got our pictures off finally. I hope that that's working for you so you can see all the statistics. This all comes from the CDC, the Center for Disease Control's government website. 3.2% of children aged 3 to 17 years old, approximately 1.9 million, have a depression diagnosis of some kind. The really concerning thing is that we're seeing these numbers rise, and we're seeing them rise at an alarming rate. And there's a lot of theories about why and what's causing this. There's probably multiple factors. We're not going to get into the why. We're not going to get into correcting the cause today. We're going to be tackling how do we as parents support our kids and help them to live happier and healthier. Okay, 1 in 6 US children aged 2 to 8 years, that's 17.4%, have a diagnosed mental, behavioral, or developmental disorder. 17.4%. About 1 in 59 children has been identified with an autism spectrum disorder. This is from the CDC's Autism and Developmental Disabilities Monitoring Network, those two databases. So let's look at autism spectrum. This shows a little bit of the increase that we're looking at, and it's alarming. So we look back at 2000, and it was 1 in 50 children were being diagnosed with a spectrum disorder. It has risen to 2014, the last date published, 1 in 59 children. So from 1 in 150 to 1 in 59. Again, from the CDC data sources. This trajectory is alarming, okay? And it's leaving a lot of kids frustrated and not living their healthiest self. It's leaving a lot of parents struggling to know how to support their kids. And so the question really is, are we over-medicating kids? That's what I want to ask you. And I'm not going to give you the answer to that today. I'm going to tell you that there is a time and a place for medicating children for these things. Is it always the time and the place when there's a diagnosis? I'm going to let you decide that, but I want to share a little bit more statistics about drug treatment. I'm talking synthetic pharmaceutical prescribed drugs for some of these issues. The National Ambulatory Medical Care Survey said that the rate of antipsychotic prescriptions for children increased 6-fold in a 3-year period. Sorry, we'll pop that back up. The National Center for Health Statistics, 7.5% of US children between the ages of 6 and 17 were taking medication for, quote, emotional or behavioral difficulties. This was a study done in 2011 and 2012, and I'm sure that you're aware that all of these numbers continue to rise every year. And the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, government department, says that as many as 10,000 toddlers may be receiving psychostimulant medication. Those are medications like Ritalin, okay? 10,000 toddlers. So I just want you to sit with those stats right now and think about the ramifications. Yes, they can help, but there's a trade-off, isn't there? And it's called side effects, because anytime you put a synthetic chemical substance into the body, you are playing a game of benefits versus harm. Okay, there's always going to be side effects, whether they're seen or unseen. And sometimes it's worth putting up with some side effects to get the benefit, and sometimes the side effects cause more problems than the benefit. And so this leaves parents with a difficult decision as they're working with their healthcare providers on whether to jump into this and what to give their children and how much to give them. And in the area of behavior, mental health, brain support, it's a lot of trial and error, isn't it? It's a lot of trial and error, and There's a lot of side effects that you have to go through as you're jumping through hoops to try to find something that works. And it's a scary thing. And unfortunately, we don't have as many studies, or what I feel like is really adequate studies in youth with the same drugs that we have studies for in adults. And so it leaves parents feeling even more anxious. So you're probably here because you're like me, you're a parent who wants some safe options, right? You want some safe options. So I'm going to give you some feedback on safe options that I have found. And I have found that they work for my children. I have worked with a lot of parents and a lot of children and teens, and I've seen amazing, amazing results with many, okay? I'm not a doctor. I want to say that really clear. I'm not a doctor, and I think that doctors are needed. And so please don't take my advice in place of a doctor. But there are definitely a lot of doctors that aren't even aware of all of the safe options out there. So you're your child's advocate. You are able to learn and to make choices and use your own intuition as well. Sometimes medical attention is needed, and I'm not against medications. I'm glad they're there when needed. But are we over medicating? It's just something we each need to think about. And for me, I choose to put medications that are synthetic in a category that is when absolutely necessary. And I save them for the last resort, okay? So if I can find something more natural, safe, and it's going to assimilate into the body better than a synthetic will without the side effects, then I'm going to opt for that and see what kind of results I get. And I'm going to save those synthetics that come with risk for when I don't have any other options. It's an absolute last resort. Okay, so I'm going to share a little bit about how these affected my family. I'm not going to get into a ton of details because I really like to respect the privacy of my children. But 7 years ago, we were in a time period where my daughter was older elementary age, had been struggling all her life with various emotional imbalance, some focus, some hyperactivity. We just couldn't put our finger on, we hadn't figured out her diagnosis as of yet. We have since, but it was a struggle for sure. We were always trying to help her, and we didn't know if we needed to look at that synthetic medication path, but I was afraid of it. And I was afraid of the lack of studies. And I was introduced to essential oils. I tried them for my allergies, and for my immune system, saw great results. I tried them for my son's ear infections, saw great results. And I started noticing that a lot of them were listed for emotional balance and for brain support and for focus. And so my husband and I decided to try them with our child that was struggling with those things. Now, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a class like this. I had some basic knowledge that I got from an essential oil book and from talking to a few people. And I started experimenting. And I picked out a handful of oils that I started using, essential oils I started using with my daughter. And what I will tell you is that about 3 or 4 days into using them, my mom came to visit. And she just came for the weekend. And my mom has been an elementary teacher. Her whole career was in teaching, mostly elementary. And part of that teaching career, she was a special ed teacher. So she's very, very good at working with kids who struggle with these things. And she knew her grandchild very well and knew the struggles. She came into the house, and my daughter had had several good days since we started using the oils. And I was starting to wonder, could these be working? And I was skeptical because I thought surely they wouldn't work this dramatically this fast, but she's had a few great days. My mom came in, and about 20 minutes into sitting in our living room, my daughter was quietly drawing at the table, which was not normal for her. And she said, "What is going on with her? She is like a different kid today." And I said, "This is going to sound really weird, but I'm using these plant oils." And I I have my doubts they could be working this well, this quickly. We've only used them for a few days, but I'm starting to wonder if they are, because she's been different and it's been really good and really peaceful. And by the end of that weekend, my mom turned to me and she said, I don't understand what it is you're using and how they work, but you have got to go tell other parents about this because you could help a lot of kids. And that stuck with me. And that is what I carried with me as I did start sharing with other people. And it actually led me into this career, into my business of teaching essential oils. And it has helped a lot of other kids. They do help. And that's why I'm here today. And I'm glad you're here. And I hope that you'll take this information to heart. So these are the oils that we were introduced to. This particular picture isn't necessarily the ones I was using on my child. I'm going to go through some recommendations specifically for brain support in a minute. But this is doTERRA Essential Oils. This is the only brand that I recommend. This is the brand that I found has therapeutic benefits. I worked in the spa industry for many, many years before, never saw an essential oil work like these. And I'll tell you why in a second. But we use these for everything in our home now. We use them for all healthcare needs and save that medical intervention when absolutely necessary. It's drastically reduced our need for synthetics. We live more naturally, more healthy, physically, emotionally, mentally, all of that. So the oils are supportive to the body. These essential oils are not curing anything. I'm not claiming any kind of a cure, and I'm not going to tell you that certain oils are for certain disorders. It's actually not even permitted for me to do that because they are not pharmaceutical drugs, and only pharmaceutical drugs can claim treatment for specific diseases or disorders. But the essential oils come from nature. They come from plants. They have molecular structures and constituents that the body responds to very well, just like a plant does. They're there to keep the plant healthy and safe, and our body can use those in very interesting ways to affect various systems of the body. And so they are supportive to the body's own natural processes, okay? So we can use an oil and it balances the digestive system, and then we start to experience a healthier digestive tract. It assists our immune system in getting stronger so that our body can fight things off, okay? We are addressing symptoms, not curing diseases here, but we can live at a better, healthier, happier state when we can eliminate some of the suffering from the symptoms, and brain support is no exception. So I want you to think about a broken leg. When you have a broken leg and the doctor puts a brace or a cast on, does the cast heal the leg? It does not. It supports the leg while the body does its work so that it can do its work properly. So think of the oils in that way. It's supporting different components of the body and processes of the body so that the body can shift into its healthy functioning patterns at a higher level. So why doTERRA specifically? I'm going to run through this really quickly because this is important. You cannot run to a natural health store down the street or to Amazon or to anywhere that you see essential oils sold, because they're everywhere now, and get the same results that I'm going to teach you about today. And there's actually a reason for that. It is because you need the actual oil from the plant that has the therapeutic qualities. You need the right species of plant, you need it to be sourced correctly, and you need those molecular compounds to remain intact as they were in nature for them to work in the body. And so many things can interrupt that and disrupt that structure. And there's a lot of corruption in the essential oil industry. There's a lot of adulteration, synthetics that you cannot tell a difference aroma-wise. They match very closely, but they will not function exactly the same in the body. And so it's an effectiveness issue and it's a safety issue. So there's a few things that set doTERRA apart that give them that absolute pure and therapeutic grade, okay? The doTERRA difference involves our scientific process and our testing. So you need to know that the US government does not regulate essential oils at all. So that means a company can put whatever they want on the label. They can tell you it's pure, therapeutic, and no one's holding them accountable to that. So we have a consumer disclosure problem. So when doTERRA was founded, they set up testing standards that went far beyond the norm and built in accountability and customer disclosure accountability for us. consumer accountability. So doTERRA has every liter of oil tested 54 times with 54 different tests, okay? Every liter goes through 54 different scientific tests. This is unheard of in the industry. 11 of those tests are done by third-party testing facilities, so they don't have financial interest. It's not in-house. We do some in-house testing, and then 11 tests are third-party. This is why doTERRA oils are the oils showing up in hospitals and clinics now, is because of our testing standards. Our sourcing is also a big part of this, okay? We source our oils from plants all over the world, wherever that plant grows at its finest quality. We do not force our crops to grow in a climate because it's where we own land. We don't operate that way. We partner with local growers. We build up their farming practices. We pay them above fair trade wages. We invest in their communities. We help them thrive and live at a quality life, and they help us have quality oils, okay? Because a lot of these species won't grow in other areas, and they have to be farmed correctly in the right soil and the right climate, harvested correctly, all of that. So let's talk about a couple of things that affect brain health in kids and teens and adults, for that matter. Nutrition is an issue, okay? I'm not a nutritionist, and this isn't a nutrition class, but I feel like I have to mention it because it can be such a significant factor for so many brain health issues. So just make a side note of this, that if you haven't addressed nutritional elements, it is something to look into, and to get help from a functional doctor that has a lot of nutritional training. Most Western doctors don't have a lot of nutritional training, or a really good nutritionist. Sometimes gluten, sugar, food dye, or other ingredients are aggravating symptoms. It varies from person to person. And so it does require a commitment and some experimenting. That's definitely something to keep in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is nutrient deficiencies can cause issues. And so that's where you want to look at some supplementation. I promise we're going to get into essential oils in a minute, but I need to talk to you about this because it's a big piece of the puzzle. So it's very important to be getting all of the minerals and trace minerals into the body, and that our food sources, we cannot possibly get enough in. We can't eat enough fruits and vegetables. We're not getting enough of those trace minerals from soils. So supplementation is key. Again, most of what's on the market is synthetic, and it isn't absorbed well into your body. So you want a whole food bioavailable resource. You also want fish oil, which is an omega-3 fatty acid. So important, because this is the most basic way. I had a neurobehavioral scientist practitioner tell me this, and it helped me to understand. He said, just think of the brain as being built out of building blocks made out of omega-3 fatty acids. When your child is trying to grow new pathways in the brain, it needs the material to build itself with, and that is omega-3 fatty acids. And so it is so important for brain function. So this is doTERRA's daily supplement line. You have on the left your daily minerals, vitamins. It's all food-based. It's all bioavailable, absorbable. Excuse me, that one's not the one on the left. That's the one in the middle. The one on the left is a lot of botanicals and extracts and herbs that are great for inflammation. For us adults, it's good for pain. A lot of kids don't have that. Great for brain health, mental focus, and bringing down inflammation in the brain is a huge part of what we're trying to do here. Okay, it's really, really key in brain function. And then to the right, the far right, those little red capsules are the omega-3 fatty acids. They contain 9 essential oils. 9 essential oils, and these oils are very good for the brain. We see higher level of mental clarity, focus, mood lifting with this trio. Now, if you have a child that cannot swallow capsules, we have a children's version that it leaves out the one on the left because they may not be needing as much pain and inflammation relief, but it has the, excuse the train that's going by, it'll be gone in a second if you hear background noise. It's a chewable, natural watermelon flavored supplement that gets their minerals and vitamins in, and then it's a liquid omega-3 supplement. They just pour it in a spoon or pour it over their food. You can put it in a smoothie. It is flavored with our wild orange essential oil. It's not fish flavored, it's orange flavored. Very, very good for brain health for the little ones that can't swallow capsules. Okay, I want to talk to you a little bit about gut health, because this is another key component to brain health. A lot of people don't understand that the gut is directly related to the brain. Gut function is related to brain function. Did you know in Chinese medicine, whenever there is a mental health or a brain health issue, they always address the gut first. There are more neurotransmitters in the gut than there is in the brain, believe it or not. Having an imbalanced intestinal tract, when I'm talking about good bacteria versus bad bacteria, I'm talking about gut flora. You need good bacteria in your gut. Will throw your neurotransmitters out of whack, and it will cause symptoms to show up in brain function, in mood, in mental health, in addition to immune problems, in addition to digestive problems that can come up, okay? One thing that kills off this good, healthy flora is antibiotics, okay? I'm not saying that they aren't sometimes necessary, but whether they are or not, we still have to recognize that they're killing off good gut bacteria, and that needs to be replaced and recolonized. Or what can happen is all of a sudden you start noticing things like digestive struggles, immune system going down, and mental health having some problems. All of a sudden your child is having a lot of anxious feelings. They're not sleeping well. They're having mood disruptions. Their mood is low. They can't stay focused. And we're not connecting these dots to go, oh, there's been things along the way that have disrupted gut flora, and it needs to be replenished. So how do we replenish those? We need a probiotic. Now, this is doTERRA's probiotic. It's called PB Assist. There are a lot of probiotics on the market. They are not all of the same. You do not want a probiotic that needs to be refrigerated, and this is why. Because these are live strains, okay? They're bacteria strains. If it's needing to be refrigerated, that means that it is in a decaying phase, a decaying state. It's not stable. If the temperature rises up, they die. Well, what temperature is your body? When you swallow that, your body temperature starts killing it off before it gets in there and colonizes. The other issue with probiotics is stomach acid. You do not need probiotics in your stomach. You need them in your small intestines. So you can spend a lot of money on probiotics, and you can eat all of the yogurt you want, and a majority of those strains are not making it to the small intestine to get a high enough colonization going to really repair the gut. So PB Assist is double encapsulated to withstand the stomach acid. It will not open until it's in the small intestines where it needs to go. It is a stable formula, no refrigeration needed. It is not in a decayed stage. It is a high colonization number, and it has a prebiotic built right into that capsule, which is basically like, think of it as the bacteria's food. So you put it in to the small intestine, it opens, the bacteria comes out, the good flora is being colonized, and it's got that prebiotic to start the colonization process. It's very good. This is a capsule. Now, for children that can't swallow capsules, and by the way, for a lot of adults, they like this version too, and they can use it, and my teenagers love this one. My kids and teenagers love this. It's called PB Assist Junior. It comes in these little sachets, and this is like eating a pixie stick. It is like eating candy. It's a powder. It's strawberry, strawberry and watermelon flavored. It's really delicious. It's like eating Jelly Bellies or something. It's a powder, and believe it or not, each of those little granules is microencapsulated to withstand the stomach acid as well, and you get the same colonization properties in the gut. So it's a really good option. You can give this even to babies. You just put a little on your finger and let them suck it off. It works very, very well. Sometimes kids that have major gut disruption need to go a little more extreme, and they need to do a full cleanse and restore. I'm not going to teach a cleanse and restore course today. If you need that information, get a hold of me, and I'll send you a recording that goes through the whole cleanse and restore 30-day process. There's a kids version. It's all done topically with oils that you're putting on their skin and taking their chewables, and there's capsules for adults, but the kids, you can do it without the capsules. So this cleans out, let's say, yeast, candida. It cleans out parasites, and then replenishes all that flora as well. So just keep that in mind. Okay, let's jump into essential oils. I know that's why you're here and that's what you really want to be learning about. Now that you have some baseline and some of those really foundational products, daily supplementation and probiotics. Very, very important for any child who is struggling with brain function of any kind. There are 3 ways to use our essential oils at doTERRA: topical, aromatic, and internal. On children, topical usage is done a lot. With small children, you want to dilute that oil with some coconut oil or some sort of natural carrier oil just to protect their sensitive skin. And it's a really good practice because they're strong and they're potent. A lot of our oils you can get pre-diluted in rollers. You can make rollers, or you can just get our carrier oil, which is a fractionated coconut oil, and just mix it in your hand or rub it on the skin and then put the oils over the top. Aromatic use. This is a picture of a diffuser. There's various diffusers that you can use. It puts the oil in the air. I have mine going right beside me today with peppermint and wild orange in it. It allows you to breathe the oil in its tiniest atomized particles into your lungs, goes into your bloodstream that way, travels into all of the cells of your body. By the way, with topical application, the skin pulls the oils down, especially if you give it just a quick little rub into the skin, into your lymphatic system, and that pushes it into your circulatory system and into your cells within 30 seconds. It is in every cell of the body within 30 minutes through that modality. Aromatic is particularly useful for mood because the olfactory gland in our nose is connected to the amygdala, which is part of our limbic brain, which is our emotional kind of control seat of our brain. Very powerful. And then internal usage is unique to doTERRA because of our purity. Almost all of our oils can be used internally. With children, you might be doing that a little bit in supplementation. For mood and behavior, you're going to be doing mostly topical and aromatic. So frankincense is the first oil I want to tell you about. Love, love, love this oil. It is called the king of the oils. It's unique. It's powerful because it comes from the resin of the frankincense tree in the Middle East. We get it from Somalia. And it is one of 2 oils that have a unique molecular shape called a sesquiterpene that actually can fit through an opening in what's called the blood-brain barrier. Did you know that scientists have been struggling and working to come up with a synthetic that can duplicate this, and they haven't been able to do it, to get a drug that can actually cross the blood-brain barrier, because they can address neurological issues so much more effectively if they can get access, okay? So frankincense is one that can do that, and that's why we have such powerful effects on brain health with frankincense. So my personal preference and what I recommend, just by what I've researched and in working and watching kids and what I've seen even in my own, is you can use a lot of oils to help with mood management, focus, that kind of thing. But I see that the kids that have the foundation of the daily supplements, the probiotics, and frankincense tend to have even better results than those that are just using oils for specific symptoms. So think of those as your foundation. Frankincense is a foundational oil because it will aid and support neurological function unlike any other oil. It is so, so good. Okay, frankincense is highly anti-inflammatory. Inflammation in the brain is what's behind a lot of these symptoms and struggles. It is mood lifting, all right? It will help to take that weight of what feels like just a low mood and feelings of sadness and lack of motivation, and it lifts that. It gives mental clarity, it helps with memory, and it can, for some kids, help reduce sensory overload symptoms. Copaiba, or copaiba as it's pronounced in Brazil, where we get it from a tree, but we just kind of call it copaiba for it's easier for us English speakers. It is a neuroprotective oil. In fact, there's a really interesting brain injury study on a government website. I have the link to that if you ever need it, that shows how well it helps those with brain injuries because of its neuroprotective qualities. It's also very anti-inflammatory. If you can get inflammation down in the brain, you're going to see some improvement in a lot of issues. Copaiba reduces anxious feelings. It's kind of a Zen oil. It can help you just kind of feel more relaxed and in control of your emotions. It can help with sleep. We have a lot of oil. If sleep is particularly an issue, we have oils that can dramatically help with that. Copaiba is just one of them. Sometimes people compare this oil to CBD oil, which is a big buzzword out there. You're hearing it a lot. CBD oil is not an essential oil. Copaiba is an essential oil. They are different plants. And I want to explain to you why it's compared to that, what are some similar benefits you can get, and what the difference is. Okay, so CBD oil comes from the hemp or marijuana plant. Copaiba comes from the copaiba tree in the Amazon rainforest, and it's a sap from it. The oil is in the resin in the sap. Both contain something called beta-caryophyllene, or BCP. And a beta-caryophyllene affects the endocannabinoid system of the body that affects the brain. It also affects pain and things like that. They are not the same plant, and CBD almost always contains some amount of THC. Sometimes they say they don't. Most of them, when really tested, have some element of it. THC is the part of the plant in marijuana that causes psychoactive properties. Okay, it's psychoactive effects. So when you talk about getting high, Copaiba is not going to give you anything like that. I want to set your mind at ease. Copaiba does not contain any THC because it isn't even related to that plant. But let's look at those beta-caryophyllanes because those are very, very good for your health. And I'm not here to put CBD oil down. I know there's benefits there, but I want to show you what Copaiba can do because I believe that it's better. Okay, the beta-caryophyllanes that are the things that you want. In CBD, you have 2 to 30% beta-caryophyllene. In copaiba oil, you have 60% beta-caryophyllene. It is more effective. It is safer because you don't have to worry about the THC. It's not going to show up on a drug test because it has no relation to that. And it is way less expensive, okay? So maybe that just kind of puts it in perspective for you. Vetiver is a really interesting oil, and this is another one that we used when I was working with my child 7 years ago. We didn't have copaiba yet, so that one has come on the scene since, but frankincense vetiver for sure. Vetiver is an oil that I like to have people try for focus. Okay, so if you have a child that's struggling with focus, vetiver can be very helpful. You put it in the diffuser, you can put it on the back of the neck. A good place to put vetiver is on the pad of the big toe, which sounds really weird, but there is a neurological connection there to brain support, and it just does help. So there's a few different oils that can help with focus. We even have a blend called Intune that some prefer for focus. So it's a little bit of a trial and error, just like it is when you're trying medication. You always want to be open to trial and see what works best because everyone's a little different. But I see a lot of people do well with vetiver, and that this has been a good one for our family as well. It helps with focus. It helps to calm a racing mind. So if you have a lot of thoughts that go, which sometimes interferes with sleep. So if sleeping is shutting down at night because of a racing mind is a problem, vetiver is really, really good for that. By the way, you see it sitting here amongst these little fine roots. It comes out of the root of the vetiver grass, and it grows in Haiti. We're doing some really cool things in Haiti, building up their economy there with our farmers as they are expanding their vetiver crops so we can get this beautiful oil and help all of these people that are struggling so much with attention problems right now. And now I want to talk to you about mood blends. So sometimes we have oils that are blended, several plants together for a specific type of purpose. Like we have a digestive blend, we have a blend, we have a respiratory blend, we have an immune system blend, we have an orthopedic pain blend, a lot of things like that. But we also have mood blends and emotional blends. We have more than what's shown here, but this is our foundational 4 mood blends, and this is called the mood matrix, okay? So within this matrix, you will see some people respond better to one or two of these oils than the others. Some will use multiple, some will find one that they use. I really like kids and adults to have exposure to all four of these so they can experiment, figure out which one or which combination helps them the most. So I know that you can't have your child smell them right here because you're learning online. If you were sitting in front of me and your child was here, I would have them smell the oils. You can tell a lot from their response to the aroma because it's affecting the amygdala limbic brain. And that is going to tell their sense of smell. I like that if they're having a positive sense. So when you get oils in your home and you can sit down with your child, have them smell them, watch their face and watch for the one that they reach back for and they want to smell again. It can shift and change over time too. So it's nice to have access to them all so they can experiment with them and they can ebb and flow what their body needs. So you see in the first quadrant, serenity. It's calming, it's composing, it's placating. So hyperactivity can be calmed with serenity. Feelings of anxiousness are calmed with serenity. Serenity is my first go-to for sleep as well. Okay, it's a good one. Number 2 to the right is citrus bliss. It's invigorating, stimulating, motivating. It is the invigorating blend is what it's called. It sort of smells like a dreamsicle. It's sort of an orange citrus with a little vanilla mixed in, a sweeter kind of smell. A lot of people love this one. I have another child who just loves this one. It's just her calming oil. She loves it. This can lift mood if someone's feeling lethargic or feelings of sadness, and it can just get someone feeling like living life and going. Number 3, elevation, the joyful blend, inspiring, encouraging, cheering. This is also a mood lifting blend. So feelings of sadness can be elevated with elevation as well. And then number 4, to the left, lower left there, is grounding, reassuring, and consoling. This is balance, the grounding blend. I actually really have found very few people that are not benefited by using balance every day. This is probably the most foundational of these 4 because it's a mood stabilizing and it's basically your anti-stress oil. So it helps to reduce the impact of stress. It helps to keep erratic moods a little more stable. So you're in a more normal range of fluctuation there. And I feel like when I use balance, I have a better day. I just handle life a little better with balance. So for our family, when we first were working with our child, we had that frankincense she was using with vetiver, and we would use 3. She wasn't gravitating towards citrus bliss so much. Other kids do. We were using serenity for calming and for sleep. Balance was grounding, elevation was helping her mood. They were working really well. We were rubbing these, by the way, on her feet and the back of her neck. Oh, excuse me, I'm telling you that wrong. On her feet and under her nose before we would send her off in the morning, and then again midday, and then we would use ones for stress and sleep before bed, okay? You don't want to put oils that have citrus on the face if they're going to go out in the sun, in some intense sun. They can be a little photosensitive, citrus oils. But that's what we were doing. And the reason we put under the nose, we wanted that aromatic benefit for her as she went to school. So if it was citrus bliss, we probably would have put that under her hairline or something where the sun wasn't hitting it. There are sometimes physical and emotional symptoms that you can correlate to different oil supports. So if you look at this quadrant, you've got fatigued and stressed going up and down. Those are physical manifestations. Side to side, you've got emotional. So no peace, no passion. Whereas physical, you've got fatigued and stressed. So let me just quickly run through. Serenity is going to help with someone who's who is emotionally feeling angry, impatient, and physically it might be showing up as stomachache and headache because emotions are connected to our physical body. Citrus bliss, emotionally unmotivated, discouraged, physically might be experiencing some brain fog and chest tightness. Elevation, emotionally someone might be feeling hopeless and withdrawn, and physically they might be experiencing chest tightness and lower back pain shows up with some of those feelings and emotions. So the oils that just can be a clue to like what's going on and what oil might help. With balance, emotionally, feelings of tense and worry, And then physically, it might be causing some digestive upset, some neck pain. Okay, I want to talk about lemon because I don't know that anyone really understands why, but children who are dealing with symptoms that are sometimes caused by ASD, autism spectrum disorder type struggles, tend to crave lemon, okay? And not all of them, but a lot of them do really like lemon. And it seems to be helpful emotionally, calming, sensory-wise. We don't understand this, we don't know. So I'm not making any claims about it with that disorder or those disorders. I just want to share with you that there is something with lemon that tends to be helpful and just help kids and teenagers feel better. It's an aroma that tends to be pleasing to a lot of them. So it's an inexpensive oil. It's a great one to consider if you've got a child that needs to just have something they can smell that's really, really pleasing to them. You know that that's actually helping in the brain if it is. Okay, so you saw these before. You saw the supplements. You saw the probiotics. I know I'm hitting you with a lot of information, and to be honest, I've whittled this down because there's a lot of oils and there's a lot more than this that can help. And when you have a family that gets access to a lot of oils, they now have kind of a whole world open to them where they can experiment with their children, and they will often land on really unique combinations that help their child. And so ultimately, yes, I want to see you have oils in your home if you don't yet, and the more that you have to experiment with, the better. But I also understand that that's overwhelming and it's an investment, and sometimes families aren't ready to take them all into their home all at once. And so they are like, well, where do I even start? So I've whittled this down to the oils that I shared with you and the products I shared with you are the ones that I have noticed give the most benefit to the most kids, and it's a great starting point. And then you can venture off from there and try some other things as well. So where do you start? I'm going to try to give you a little guidance on if you were to take a first step, what oils do you get into your home? How do you do it the most economical way possible? And that can be customized as you need it, but I want to just give you a little counsel on this. And I know some of you already have oils. I know some of you have a wellness advocate that you're working with, that you're going to be getting your products from. That's totally fine. I want to be a resource for you at this class. If you don't have anyone helping you, I want to be able to help you, okay? I can help you get your products, or you can work with whoever is helping you. That's really not my point. My point is I don't want you spending too much, and I want to help you know a good starting place that's going to make sense. I'm going to give you a few different options. So the first place we want to start is with your foundation of nutrition and supplementation and probiotics, right? So if you've got a little one, you're going to be looking at this duo and the PBSS Junior. If you have older kids that can swallow a capsule, by the way, you can manage the dosage. An adult is going to be taking 4 out of each a day, 2 of each in the morning, 2 of each at night. If you're dealing with a small child, you can cut that back all the way back to 1 of each a day, and you monitor it based on are they 50% of an adult size? It's pretty easy to figure that out. You might be getting them this version, okay, so that they can just swallow them as pills. Or I want you to know that this version also comes in this option where they're prepackaged. And so this is a daily half dose for an adult. You get a prepackaged. It's just slightly more expensive, and then you have a little bit more environmental waste. The packaging is recyclable, but it can be really convenient if you're dealing with a teenager and you're having a hard time getting them to sit down and go through taking all of their stuff. This can be convenient. They can pop it in their lunchbox. They can rip it open, take it with breakfast. You can set it by their plate at dinner table. If you're a stressed out family, I have found this to be helpful because I've got a lot of people to take care of, and divvying out supplements can just be another chore on my plate. So this can be an option, all right? But I'm going to kind of price this out for you with just the standard, just so you know. And the PBSS Junior, which you could swap out for the capsules if you prefer. The frankincense oil, the copaiba oil, the lemon oil, and the 4 mood oils. I'm going to throw vetiver in here at the end as an option, but that's really just for focus And so I know that's only a fraction of use. So think of that as an add-on. This is what I consider the foundation to get started right here, okay? Let's look at prices. If you're going to buy these retail, and I'm going to tell you why I don't recommend paying these prices. This set is $106. For an adult, that's a month's supply. For a kid, it's going to stretch longer. PBSS Junior, $32.67 for 30 days worth. Frankincense, $90.67, Copaiba, $46.67, lemon. I'm just going to pop these up for you. I don't need to read them all to you. Those are your prices. Paying retail, you're going to pay $442 for this whole set. Keep in mind these bottles have 250 drops in them. They're going to last you a very, very long time. But there's a better way to do it, and that's with a wholesale customer account. It's $35. There's no strings attached. You're not committed to any kind of ordering requirements. And you get 25% discounts on everything. So if you get that membership, if you don't have one yet, this is what it does to the prices. Okay, just dropped them all by 25%. And it's dropping that total to $332 for your products. All right, it's a no-brainer. If you're going to get started on an issue like this, you need more than just one bottle of lemon or lavender, then you definitely want to get that wholesale option. It's how most people buy. It's going to save you a ton of money. Now you're going to need to add the $35 fee in to become a member, and so when you add that in, it's $367 compared to $442. Another option is we do have kits at doTERRA. They all come with a free membership. It waives the $35. So if you want everything, I'm going to tell you, then the diamond kit's your best buy. It's $27.50, but it actually saves you. I think it's like over $800 or something. It's a really good deal. You get every oil. A lot of them are boxed up in this photo. You can't see them, but there's a lot of oils. There's like, 70 some oils. You get all of the supplements. You get everything for every health need that you have that comes along, okay? You get a great diffuser. You get personal care products. There's another option, the Natural Solutions Kit. This is the size of kit that I started with, okay? This is a great priced kit. You're going to get your products more discounted, not as much as the Diamond Kit, but you're going to need to add on a couple for the oils I recommended for the brain support, okay? So if you add the Copaiba, the Elevation, and the Citrus Bliss, all of the others are included in here. You've got your frankincense, you've got your lemon, you've got your serenity, you've got your balance. But you need to add the Copaiba, the Elevation, and the Citrus Bliss. So the kit is $550. Those three oils together would be another $96. $646 would get you all of that. So it's going to get you what I showed you on the last page, plus your diffuser, plus personal care items, plus a whole lot of other oils in a case. It doesn't have the PBSS Junior, but it has the PBSS capsules, okay? It has your supplements, everything. So that's another great option if you want more value for your money. So let's just call this option A, option B, and go back to this one and call this option C, okay? Of course, you can customize this order. So if you see something you don't want, you can pull it out. You can add something else in. You can swap it for the chewables. That's where you're going to want to work with your wellness advocate or work with myself to get the order at the best price that's going to work for your family. If you want that Focus blend, or excuse me, Focus Oil Vetiver in there, it's just at wholesale another $41. You can add that to any order. Okay. So what's your next step? If you don't have oils, you're going to want to work with a wellness advocate to get an account and an order set up if you want to get started with this. I highly recommend it. I don't know any kid that hasn't had some powerful benefit from these, okay? You want to reach out. So if you don't have a wellness advocate to work with, please reach out to me, connect with me. I want to make sure that you are customizing things to your child or your teenager's needs, to your family's needs. I'll help you be budget conscious. We'll find something, a starting point wherever it is, even if it's starting with just part of that and adding to it later. We'll find something that helps you start, and then I'm going to support you along the way as you're using them, and we're going to tweak, and we're going to play with it until you are really seeing some positive results with your child. If you are working with another wellness advocate, you can reach out to them. They'll give you whatever support you're looking for. If you already are a doTERRA user, you know what to do. Just go use the oils that you learned about today and start experimenting to see what works for your kids. I'm going to end just with this quote, and the website on the bottom, I don't even know what it is. It's just whoever published this. So believe in yourself as a parent. No one knows your child better than you. You've been there since their first breath. There is no better advocate for their needs. Even if you're an adoptive parent, you have been there with them. You are their number one advocate, more so than their doctor, more so than their educators. It's you. And I want to leave you with encouragement, because I know you can hit those low points as a parent when your child is struggling and you can't find the answer and you don't know how to help. And you can feel like you're not winning. And I want to tell you, because sometimes we just need to hear it, you're a good mom, you're a good dad, you're a good grandparent. You are your child's advocate, and they are so blessed to have you. And this is a journey. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be patient with your child. Be kind to your child. Believe that better days are coming. There is hope out there, and there is things that can help them to live a happier and healthier life. And so hang in there, mom and dad. It's going to be okay, and there's help out there. And so I'm going to end today and just tell you what a blessing it's been to have these oils in our home, how much they have helped our family in so many ways. I want more than anything to get these into people's homes, because I know the power of them. Just like my mom told me, you've got to tell other parents. This can help a lot of kids. If it wasn't my business, if I wasn't earning my income from teaching about essential oils, I would still be teaching people about essential oils, because I know the difference they can make. Okay, doTERRA is Latin for gift of the earth, and these really truly have shown to be a gift to me that God has given us from what He's put here on the earth. I'm grateful for them. Please reach out to me if I can help, and I appreciate you being on here today. Thank you. Thanks for joining, everyone. You can find me on Essential Oil Classroom on Facebook. You can always send me a message there if you need to get in touch. Have a great